And joining us live from Capitol Hill, incoming Senate Majority Leader John Thune from South Dakota. Overall, how do you think that these nominees are being received?
I think the meetings are going well, Dana. I've heard from readouts, I should say, from my colleagues and some of their meetings. And as you mentioned, we're all sitting down with a lot of these nominees. And what's important is they are ensured that they're going to get a fair process. These are the president's nominees, the people he wants in these key positions. And it's our job under advice and consent in the Constitution to ensure that they have a fair process up here, get a chance to make their case, and for senators to determine whether or not they're qualified for the jobs that they're seeking. So that's what we're involved with right now, and I think the meetings are going well. Everything I hear suggests that these nominees are very well prepared coming into these meetings.
Senator, let me ask you a question that goes back a couple weeks. When Matt Gaetz was nominated, he was quickly overcome with a swell of opposition. It's been suggested that at least 10 Republican senators were a no vote on him, and that word got back to Mar-a-Lago. Can you say that's the same for any of the candidates, for any of the nominees that are before the Senate now?
You know, Bill, I don't prejudge any of these candidates. Obviously, there are questions they all have to answer. Each of them has backgrounds, they have experience. That's all part of this process, is examining that, determining their qualifications for office. And as that process gets underway, these nominees have an opportunity to make their case in front of senators who are ultimately going to cast that vote. So I don't think at this point, I think it's premature, honestly, to make any conclusions about whether or not any of these candidates have any issues or problems that could be consequential. I think the important thing is we give them a fair process. They get the opportunity to make their case about why they are fit and qualified to do these important jobs. And obviously, the president should have a lot of deference and leeway when it comes to making these appointments, because these are the people that he wants to implement his agenda. So we're going to ensure here that they get a fair process, and I think that should apply and be true for all of the nominees that he's put up.
Earlier in this hour, Brett Baer and Bill Malugin, our reporters, said that Mar-a-Lago, President-elect Trump is considering the possibility of Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, to be the Secretary of Defense nominee. That would mean that Pete Hegseth would no longer be. Have you heard from any senators about that possible switch?
Well, I think, Dana, the important thing is the president is still committed to the nominees that he's put forward. There's a lot, as you know, swirl around this process. There always is side conversations that go on. But, you know, at the end of the day, these nominees need to have the opportunity to make their case. I'm meeting later today, I think it's been reported, with Pete Hegseth, as are many of my colleagues. And I think the readouts from these meetings are he's very smart, and he's got, you know, great experience, obviously, as a combat veteran. So we're going to give him the chance to make his argument, make his case. Clearly, he's going to have to answer some hard questions, which he is, based on the reports I'm getting from the meetings he's attended so far. But that is part of our process. And under advice and consent in the Constitution, our responsibility as the Senate is to give him that process and to determine, based upon confirmation hearing and background search and things like that, their qualifications for the office.
Susie Wiles, incoming Chief of Staff, put out a statement about the nominees now going before FBI clearance, we should say. She says the agreement we have reached now with the Department of Justice will ensure President Trump and his team are ready on day one to begin enacting the America First agenda that an overwhelming majority of our nation supported on Election Day. On that agenda, it's been reported that you do a two-pronged approach in 2025. The budget first, which would include the border, defense, and energy. Huge deals. Huge issues for America. Then the tax deal would come second. Is that what is on the forecast for you and your agenda there?
Bill, those are conversations that we've been having with our colleagues here in the Senate, obviously also with the House and with the President and his team, because in order for us to be successful here, we have to be unified coming out of the gate. That is something that we have put before our conference, Republican senators, as a possibility for how we deal with getting the president's agenda done. The key is getting the things that he campaigned on: the border, energy dominance, national security, rebuilding our military, extending the Trump tax cuts. Those are all things in the end that we have to accomplish. How we get there is what we're discussing. And that's part of this process, is to determine what's the best way to achieve and see that the president's agenda, the things that he campaigned on and the things that our candidates across this country campaigned on, get put into law. And so we're having those conversations. We had some yesterday with Republican senators. We had the Speaker of the House obviously attended our meeting as well and shared some of his insights about where he thinks the House is on that. And clearly we've been communicating with the President and his team to make sure that we're proceeding forward in a unified way. And the only way we're going to get the results that we want to achieve is through teamwork. And I think that in the end, that's what you're going to see.
Senator John Thune, and you got a lot of work cooking for yourself.
We got a lot of
there.
questions
We do
down the
indeed.
road, too.
Stay in touch. We
Thanks,
appreciate you
Dana.
coming on the
Right.
show. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
See you, Bill. Thanks.